And we are live here on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content channel. My name is Tony Vicinda. I'm Chief Alchemist here at Plus One EXP, which is a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard and skincare alchemy in the Bardic College of Content Creation. Our hope and desire here at Plus One is to help amazing designers find great players who love their games, and amazing players find great designers whose games they can love. Right now, and for the last few months, we've been doing that as an ongoing actual play of The Between by Jason Cordova, run by Jason Cordova, with all these really good-looking people whose faces are all around me. And Levi from chat already coming in, calling out Wes's excellent background out there also, too. So super excited to be back in the saddle. We didn't know if we'd be playing this week. I just cruised in from a vacation, but with a number of things going on last week and this week, I'm super excited that we can. I think we're going to hop into it pretty quickly. Jason, I'm going to hand things over to you to take us into The Between.
Yeah, let's do it. So we didn't have Langfest last time, and so I'm going to do maybe a slightly more in-depth recap than I normally would, just for Wes's benefit. So last time you did resolve the creature of Cremorne Gardens. Tim made contact with the creature and sent the creature on its way in a very sweet scene, an interesting scene. And so we will have to do rewards for that. We waited for Wes to be back for that. We'll get to that in a moment. You have two other active threats, Sally No Face and the King in Shadows. Sally No Face, you still have three questions that can be, any one of them can be answered to resolve the threat, and you have 5 clues currently on that threat. King in Shadows, we're still trying to figure out what signs precede a performance of the play and where will it appear next. That's a complexity 2, and you have 7 clues on that right now. If you answer that correctly, you get to discover the location of the new venue. You may then watch a performance during any following night phase while the threat is active. And then after you watch the performance, you unlock the next question. So there's a couple of steps to go on this one. I do want to talk about the King in Shadows in a little bit more depth, though, because we actually saw last time that the play is having an incredible effect on the city. The city is sort of it's become like quite like festival-like, but also like chaotic and a little scary. Like if a arts festival was like also like really weird and murderous. That's kind of like what's going on in London right now. The hunters went to Bedlam and discovered some grim things about the people who have been hospitalized there, the people who have connections to the play. Their faces are twisted up in a half tragedy mask, half comedy mask, like kind of twisted and gnarled. Sally No Face showed up at the hospital and attacked the group as well, and was and took one of those weird faces. She was super excited about that.
Attack, I guess.
Well, you know, she attacked you psychologically, we'll say.
I don't even know. I think actually
She attacked me
Nox
by
and
how
her,
into it I was.
You were really
her
into
and
it.
Nox
I
just
know.
kind of had a nice
There was a little
time
moment, yeah, some professional regard going on, mutual professional regard. Anyway, so that's sort of the deal there. A weird thing that happened last session in the day phase that has no apparent connection to the threats, maybe not even much of a connection to Theodora, is Septimus discovered that Hargrave House has a prison beneath it, underground. There's a cave system beneath the house, and inside this cave, there is a group of like dozens of people in Louis XIV style costumes sitting in high back chairs in a circle, staring at a large floating glowing orb that looks like the moon. And they're staring at it. There's an empty chair, and Septimus's entities wanted Septimus to sit in the chair, and they tried to, because they were going to like try to break free and possess these people. That we saw that happen, but Janice masked it away, and so it didn't happen. But there's something going on there. The Limehouse Lurker was with Septimus in that scene and knew who these people were. These people are the infamous Court of Wolves. And the Court of Wolves was hundreds of years ago taken and imprisoned by Hargrave House. And so they're down there. And what connection they have to the story, we don't know. It's just fun lore. Who knows?
Wes, you didn't miss anything. You didn't miss anything.
You didn't miss anything, Wes.
I haven't seen a scrap of the Court of Wolves ever since I heard about it. I'm itching for it. Sorry. Go ahead.
For folks in the know, the Court of Wolves, it was a reference to one of the forthcoming campaign settings for the Between, called the Between Court of Wolves. And so that's another thing that happened. So I'm looking at the hunter profiles here, and I am seeing that, Septimus, you have chosen to mark the moss-covered gate instead of a Mask of the Past. The moss-covered gate says, tell the keeper to put the coven in play. The keeper should immediately frame a scene showing that the coven has arrived in London. I will do that at the start of the day phase. We have some other things to do as well. Langfisk, I believe you owe us Janus Mask, and so that is another thing we'll do as we kick off. I also mentioned last time, and I want to just reemphasize it here, we're going to be doing, for the Mastermind, we're going to be doing a kind of a revised version of the new Mastermind rules that I developed after this campaign started. The idea in the new Mastermind rules is the Mastermind clues are not just a timer. They are actual clues that can be used to answer the question, what is the Mastermind trying to do? How are they trying to take down the crown? And probably not this week, but at some point we are going to, as a group and as chat, we are going to talk about these clues and theorize what we think Theodora is up to. And then that will help frame up our final confrontation with Theodora. So with all that said, let us ease into things here with the day phase. Any questions before we keep going?
No.
Okay. Langfisk? Oh, no, let's do the rewards first. Let's do that before we do all that. Creature of Cromwell Gardens rewards. I saved those for this time. Let me grab those really quickly. All right, I'm going to drop those into our Zoom chat for the players. I'll read them out loud though. First reward, Greco can be consulted via dreams on an ongoing basis. So we've already started doing that, but now you can do it, I guess, willingly, consensually. And then there are just 4 options for a memento from the investigation, asking the hunter what it is and add it to your personal quarters. Pretty straightforward. If somebody chooses the Greco thing, everybody can do it. It's not just for that hunter. So.
I personally think that Vin should get to pick first because Septimus was the only one who dealt with the creature. We left you to do it by yourself.
But I did it, so it's fine.
Exactly. You did good.
I wanted the Greco thing since I have the Gossamer Realm and marked by Greco. Like, might as well tie the knot.
Love it. Greco is in and in play. Could be in play. Could be very helpful for the final confrontation too. In that case, everybody else just pick who you want to create your item, or if you want chat to help you out.
I mean, I already asked some chat for some items because I've got one coming from the Resurrectionist, but
oh yeah.
They are welcome to toss some other ones in.
Yes. And let's see. Wes, I saw you unmute.
Oh yeah, I was just going to ask Lord Grey to give me a memento from the Cromwell Gardens.
I think it is a pearl, like a really nice pearl. You don't think too hard about what made the pearl. It might even, you can put it on like a little piece of jewelry or something. And I'm gonna ask Septimus, what did you bring me back from Cromwell Gardens?
Lord Grey has to have a fish mask. Come on.
Oh, I'm gonna do terrible things with that.
B, are you able to turn your audio up just a touch?
Yes, I am.
Let's see.
Absolutely. Oh,
Oh, not me.
which one of us?
B.
Sorry.
B.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Listen, The letters, the curse.
Yeah, B and V are.
Yeah.
Ooh, we should not be doing what we're doing, but no, will not stop
C
us.
for Cordova.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Wes, why don't you give me an item from the creature?
Did we kill this thing?
We drove
No,
it. We drove it
it
off.
was-
God no.
There
It
may
was-
have been a clay female effigy formed, and then it fell in love and was driven off. I think something along those lines, right?
Cruel. Cruel. A collection of failed clay effigies.
The practice effigies.
Practice effigies. There we go. A collection of practice effigies.
Oh my god.
That's all I wanted. Look, did I have clay effigy in my mind if somebody had asked me and just dropped that because I really wanted one? Absolutely. All right.
What else who else needs one? Is that everybody?
I think that's everybody.
All right, cool, fantastic. All right, then we are continuing on. What did you get from the Resurrectionists, Tony?
Let's see the options I have in chat, and I asked for them to make it Brindleverse. One is an effigy of a raccoon. It smells of bread and cheese. Somebody retrofit throughout a box of chemicals to develop photographs. I don't think French fries and French wolves is intended to be an item. Since we're in effigy mode, I will just go with an effigy of a raccoon that smells of bread and cheese.
Fantastic. Odd. These Resurrectionists, they just steal whatever random thing they can find. I love it. Let's go ahead and start easing into the story play then, or the story rather. Langfisk, narrate for us, please.
We see probably Langfisk in a carriage, out running errands, on the way back, headed towards Hardgrave House. This is a letter that is not kept in the secret box. This is a letter written that is kept close to Langfisk, kept in a secret pocket sewn into the vest. So that the only way that anybody would find it is if Langfisk died and they were going through his person. He's looking over it, and we can see in this carriage that bumps along. And as he starts kind of reading through it, narrating, the narration slowly stops being just narration, and we start going towards what we see as he reads, "Dearest Ned, I told him. I told him about my life, about our times that we had out in the bush. I didn't tell him everything, though. I didn't tell him about that last night. Me, high off my arse. You, concerned. Your brother, raring for a fight. I can still feel the crunching of our dear long-lost friend's neck under my fingertips. I was always quick to cruelty, especially when you made it clear it's for our own survival. I've never done that to a friend before, though. Sure, I had knocked around a couple of the sailors that would come into port, the ranchers, selling livestock. It became easy once money got involved. Robbing banks is an art, you said. And we're artists. We were cornered in that hotel, out in the middle of nowhere. You didn't know what to do, and I had a half-cooked, harebrained scheme. Plenty of pots, pans, cauldrons. Cut them in half, rip them apart, bolt them together, and strap them. We're like knights. They'll never catch us. Their bullets will just bounce right off of metal plate. We even practiced a few times. We prepared, worked tirelessly, stockpiled ammunition, food, alcohol. We dipped into the last stores of my heroin. We knew that this was probably the end, and we did not care. We spent a night with each other. We didn't tell anyone, and you were shy. I was too. We awoke to their cries. Come out with your hands up. Kelly gang, we found you and tracked you down. We were excited, ready. You couldn't stay calm. You had to be the first one out the door. You weren't even fully strapped into your armor when you were ripped asunder by bullets. I tried my best to grab you, but I couldn't. So, me and your brother decided to fight. We took a good many of them, but things were turning quickly. Your brother had gotten shot in the neck, and so I decided to make my exit. While they were breaking down the front door, me still clad in all that piece of shit metal, I went out the side. A cop with a keen eye noticed me slipping into the bush and took a lucky shot. Clipped me right in the leg. I ducked down into a ditch. Didn't know what to do. I could hear him saying, I got one, I got one. I took the armor off. I yelled I had a hostage. There was one of you down here with me, and I'll gut him if you come near me. Lied. It was just a dead body, some pig that I shot right through the face. He looked well enough like me. I fired off a couple warning shots and nicked him right in the leg, right where they got me too. I tied off my thigh, and I put the armor on him. And then I crawled on my belly like a snake. I felt like I crawled for years. I could feel the sun beating down on my back. I could feel myself being ripped away. Days like that. Finally, when I felt safe enough, when I could hear the whoops and the gunfire in the distance behind me, I finally stood and I could barely stand. Sun exposure, dehydration. I passed out flat on my back, waiting for the dingoes to come and grab me. They never came. Instead, I saw an angel. A man resplendent in white. At first, I thought it was robes and wings, but no, it was just silver hair. A linen suit. He had some old fool with him. He was walking with a cane. A series of people holding palm leaves over him. Where the devil did he get palm leaves in the Australian bush? I remember the first words he said to me. Oh, you little thing. I passed out. And then I woke up. And I was in a room, tiny room. Water being squeezed into my lips. I faded in and out for days. When I could build my strength and I'd eaten enough, I explained to myself that he was a lord from far away on a grand tour, wanted to see the world, come across me, and took a keen interest in my survival. I started crying in that moment. I thought I'd been saved, that I was in heaven. No, I was still there, my wound bandaged. He said that I owed him a great deal, and that I'd have to repay him, a life for a life. Through the tears, I nodded, and I said I'd do anything for an angel. The Lord sent me an angel. I don't know if the Lord sent me an angel, but maybe a God, Ned. The way that Lord Grey moves through the world, no care, bluster, full of life. no fear of what may happen to him. I feel you slipping away from me, and I feel him taking over. I hope you can forgive me, Ned. I hope you can forgive me for the day when I finally do let go of you. It may be tomorrow. With love and promise, Joe Byrne.
All right. Thank you very much. Look, everyone's recovering.
We will never recover.
We will
I
never
need a
recover.
moment.
Well, that same night that Hargrave House was at Bedlam, and Septimus was at Chelsea Harbor, a boat pulled into Chelsea Harbor later that night. This was not the boat's original port of call. They were meant to be docking somewhere just outside of the city, but they were drawn to Chelsea Harbor. The boat actually slowly drifted into port. Motorcycle, sorry.
Boat
The
Foley.
boat slowly drifted into port. And the people on the pier who tend the lines came out to receive the lines so they could strap them to the pier. But no one was there to throw the lines to them. The ship appeared to have no crew. The boat eventually just kind of rammed into the pier and came to a hard stop that way. The harbor master and one of his young associates nervously went onto the boat, their faces covered with a cloth, scared perhaps that this was plague or something had killed everyone on board. They went into the ship. They went below deck. And the first thing they realized when they went down below was the smell. It was overpowering. The young harbor worker vomited immediately upon smelling the smell that was a combination of burning hair, ash, human feces, but also something herbaceous, poisonous even underneath it. And then, with their lanterns held high, they discovered that the interior of the bulkheads in the interior were covered with symbols written with this ash substance all over the floors, the walls. No sign of the crew still, except they heard a sound coming from the stateroom. Sometime later, the harbor master came topside, walked across the little makeshift gangplank back to the pier. He was covered in blood. When people asked him, "What happened? What happened to Jenkins, who went down with you?" I saw. But before he could speak the words, His own tongue fell out of his mouth onto the ground, flopping like a fish. Day phase. You have 2 active threats. Let's go around the table, figure out what everyone wants to do today. Or do we want to just go straight to answering questions as well? That's another option. We didn't check in on conditions for the hunters, so that might be something else. Actually, most everyone's okay except for Septimus. Let's just go around the table, see what everyone wants to do. Knox, what are your thoughts for today?
I'd love to answer some questions. That's the thing I'd like to do. And that may guide us in a different route. But I do think I'm going to pick up a conversation with Lord Grey, that perhaps it is time to pay Mrs. Brathwaite a visit. I have a standing invitation, and she's become quite forward and threatening towards us. So I don't know how the Lord Grey feels about that, or if they had other plans.
I always love conversations. No, this makes me very happy. So it doesn't mean he's going to agree to do anything, but I love having conversations. I also want to answer questions. I have thoughts about where the next King in Shadows play is.
Okay, love that. I do like the idea of a day trip out to Brathwaite Hall. I think that would be fun.
I think I'm very into that as well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be dragging everybody if they want to come.
Septimus, what are your thoughts?
I mean, we could make it a group visit, just to say
Group
hi
outing to
and
Brathwaite Hall.
Just answering questions in the hall, in the carriage on the way out to the hall.
I think that's great. I'm into it. I love a day phase at Brathwaite Hall. Any other thoughts, Langfisk?
I go where I am needed, and it seems that I am needed at Brathwaite Hall. Oh yeah, there's no way you're getting near that fucking woman without me there.
I feel like he says that verbatim.
There's no way you're getting near that fucking woman without me. She doesn't even have to see me, but I'll be there.
I love it. I love it. I think so. If we're all going to be, if you've hired a carriage to take you out into the country, I think that's a great idea. And just to make this extra interesting, out of character, as the carriage rolls down the cobbles past Admiral Flagg's mansion, we see standing at the window watching the carriage go to Brathwaite Hall, Admiral Flagg and Mrs. Brathwaite. Mrs. Brathwaite smiles, and so does Admiral Flagg, and they just pull the curtain too. Let's answer these questions.
Okay. I have thoughts about the King in Shadows, but I am also a certified yapper. So if anybody else has thoughts, I would love to hear.
No,
the
please
table.
yap about the King in Shadows.
I think it's underground. I think it's somewhere in the London Underground because the company marked walls of the basement with like a circle, and we found a mask near the subway system. I think they're having the next show in this like avant-garde sort of underground tunnel, and maybe the tunnels are connected to where the Court of Wolves are. I don't know. I'm not in charge, but I do think that that's my first thought just from the clues we have.
Do you have? I know you mentioned the mask found by the tunnel. Was there another one?
Yeah, the company marked the walls of the basement with a circle with a crown of thorns border.
So being low, right? Like
Like somewhere it's like it is in an underground tunnel system or somewhere underground.
Yeah, I mean we've got a lot of darkness motif also too.
Yeah.
Right. It's a place, but it's not an actual place. It's a place between places, which I think fits a lot of the other vibes we are getting also too.
I mean, I think at least those 2 clues speak pretty well to that answer. Any others you want to add to it to get a better result, or are you happy with the flat?
The table. That was all I had. I didn't have any others.
It's a fairly easy question.
No,
so-
I think that's fine.
Yeah, I think we can manage that.
I'm also not sure that any of the
Unless-
other questions really speak to it. So,
I mean, if we want to like stretch it, if we really want to stretch it, Hypatia being killed for giving a terrible performance, buried underground, that is just a big stretch.
But I see the vision. I see the vision.
I mean, well, so the problem with that though is you saw her last at Bedlam, unless we want to add the extra context that like her body was taken underground or something like that,
Or that it's under Bedlam.
oh, that's pretty good. The tunnels underneath Bedlam.
Yeah.
That could be fun. I'm kind of into it.
I mean, if we wanted to go with Bedlam, I think there are some other ones we could throw in, but I also don't know that we need to throw a ton in because we can keep on rolling through if we don't.
Yeah, like we don't have to. We can save that for like the next question.
Yeah, because there are other questions.
There are indeed. Well, who wants to roll flat then? Let's roll it.
B, you got it?
I have something. We're gonna roll.
All you need is a 7.
Oh. Whew, that's an 8. Okay.
You're good to go. You have determined where the new location is, or the new venue. The new venue is in the portion, or it's in the tunnel system, I guess is what we've settled on.
Maybe under Bedlam, maybe not. Who knows?
That might be a good place to start looking for sure. So you now have access to where the next venue is, and you can now go watch a performance of the King in Shadows in a future night phase. I will tell you that this threat is on a timer. Only so many night phases can pass before the King in Shadows returns to enters this world, and you are already about halfway through. So, FYI.
Know what we're doing tonight, or what I'm doing tonight.
Okay, well, I love that.
Good books. This is another really good one.
Excuse me.
Let's keep going. While you're writing to Brathwaite Hall, any other questions you wish to pursue? Any other thoughts? Do you want to start talking about Sally No Face? You could have a go at where is she hiding. I mean, you can have a go at any of them, but you at least have enough clues to cover that one.
Does our resident Sally No Face friend have thoughts?
Our Sally head.
Our Sally head?
Total Sally head. Total Sally face.
What are Sally's fans called? Like the lambs and the little monsters. Like what are Sally's? Or the beehive? Like what?
Oh my god. They need a name because she definitely has them.
Let's see. We've got smudges at the edge of the cut that turns out to be rouge. Miss Jarber appears to be poison. Veins black. She was immobilized and awake when she died. Incredibly expensive perfume. Sally invaded Hargrave Hall in a grand fashion with the express purpose of getting hold of Lord Grey's face. The poison is oleander, but it is not what kills them.
Do we want to mess around with possibly? This is me just snowballing. I'm so sorry, out of nowhere. The expensive perfume appears to be poisoned, and then like the oleander, maybe like I don't know what they call perfumeries or something.
Kind of sounds like it though, doesn't it? Yeah. Like an herbal or perfume,
Yeah.
a perfumery or something like that.
Honestly, even the rouge, like you could make an argument
Makeup.
for a broader,
Yeah.
cosmetics
Yeah.
or.
She's in Victorian Ulta, so what are we
Yeah.
gonna do about it? She's,
Of course, for the
she's
girlies.
She's at
Yes.
Victorian era Sephora, and
I love ye old Sephora.
They have my favorite foundation.
It's not a bad. It's not a bad
I
guess.
don't know. I love that actually, Vin. I am on the same boat. I think that makes a lot of sense. This weird sort of like uh obsession with preservation and beauty in a really but kind of a fucked up version of it. Like she's got her own definition of what's beauty, clearly.
I think the other fun question that potentially tie into one more clue is there a place where Lord Grey is known for shopping for cosmetics?
Oh, that would make it perfect. I love the
Yes.
idea of she's been under your nose the whole time.
Yes, canon. Anywhere.
Goodness.
Pick any sort of like really high end sort of cosmetics place. Like, and I'm just talking disgustingly high end.
What if she is the Stan of Lord Grey? This is Stan culture taken to the
Yeah.
worst degree.
Oh,
And for me, like I love this is not even a place like you can like that like people know about. Like this is a very insider like
oh my god.
like there is no name, there is just a symbol outside the door.
Only rich people know what it means and can get in.
Oh, it's
If
like
you have to
super
ask,
exclusive. It's
Super
super
exclusive.
exclusive. Yeah, it's really
it,
good. Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
there's no prices on anything because you just have to be able to afford it. Like
I love it, and I think that's great, and I can 100% nail that set piece if you guys want to do that.
I'm
So
obsessed with
super
the
into it.
idea of a
Yeah.
Victorian Sephora.
like super exclusive like cosmetics and like maybe even like some fashion, like just this like ultimate exclusive experience. That'd be super cool. And I love the idea of how like, Lord Grey never thought to like go for this possibility. Like
I never
there's
told
that
any
one
of you
place. Yeah.
until the carriage ride, and we're talking about it.
There's a
All
scene,
makes
there's a
sense now.
cutback scene earlier of Langfist just standing outside underneath whatever the symbol of this place.
We have to do the montage of Lord Grey interacting, but unknowingly interacting with Sally No Face like
Like a
12 times
bunch.
last week. Yeah.
You see that montage, and then it cuts to Langfist doing the Zendaya face from Challengers when they're in the alleyway. Just this entire time. Just
I love it.
what?
Well, let's take a look at clues. I mean, I think the rouge, obviously,
Yes.
the poison and the oleander and the perfume all speak to like just access to like rare ingredients and herbs and things like that.
Your mind, Vin.
And Lord Grey being a regular customer. I mean, that's it. That's 5 clues for a 4 complexity question. That's fabulous. It's a +1 if we all want to go with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it.
I love it.
Let's roll it.
Is this
Oh
me?
boy.
Is this-
Oh gee. Oh golly.
Is
I'll
this one
roll
of
it.
you? Yeah, I was like, Vin, you proposed the Victorian Sephora, so I think it might be you.
Big money, no whammies. Oh, that is a 7. 2 threes.
Woo!
Correct.
Alright,
It
open
will
the
be super dangerous, which I love.
We'd
if
have
you
it
want
another
to,
way.
if you want to make the final encounter less dangerous, you can all certainly. Well, actually, do you have access to the 1 mask still?
Yes.
If you want to bump it to a 10 and mark the Mask of Beauty,
Yeah,
we can do it.
let's do that.
That's fun.
We'll mark the Mask of Beauty. Each hunter narrates a flashback to a time when they felt truly beautiful. I love it. That makes it a 10, which means subduing Sally will not require too many die rolls. I love that. Why don't we go ahead? It's a little early, but why don't we take our first break now? Because I have to get ready for Brathwaite Hall, and you all need to think about the last time you felt truly beautiful. So, Tony, take us out for a quick 5.
All right, we'll be back in just a few minutes to keep on playing the between.
Ah. Love it here.
go.
We are live here on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content channel. Amanda has entered the chat. Is very excited. And so are the rest of us. Jason, take us back in.
Brathwaite Hall. A couple of things as your carriage comes through the gate of Brathwaite Hall. This is out in the country, big country house. You have to go through like half a mile of just like path after the gate to get to the house. And it is all manicured, you know, personal private forests, and there's a lake, and it's beautiful. It's midday in this beautiful country estate. You will notice that there are a lot of other people here when you get here. You see carriages leaving, you see carriages up ahead of you, presumably with people arriving at Brathwaite Hall. And as your carriage is brought around the circle in front of this incredible, like, majestic palatial home, you see that there are uniformed, footmen and maids like greeting people as their carriages come around and helping them out and getting all their things sorted and all their trunks and clothing sorted. Valets are helping their lords, and ladies' maids are helping their ladies get all situated. You've arrived here in the middle of something. Let's paint the scene. Theodore Brathwaite, famously, is the second richest woman in the empire, after Queen Victoria, of course. What do you see on your approach of Brathwaite Hall that shows how rich she is?
The door that is being opened for everyone by the servants is jewel encrusted. There is like this heart-shaped sapphire just embedded in the door. It is ostentatious and certainly real.
The footmen are wearing uniforms that are tailored by somebody that commonly makes nobles clothing. So even the
Italian
lowly,
tailoring.
exactly, like the lowly servants are like dripped out.
If you look far enough, like beyond the display, the crowds, you can see a giraffe in the garden.
What appears to be a complex work of stained glass over the entryway is not actually glass, but is inlaid with jewels to create the same effect.
I love it. The person greeting everyone is not Theodora. It is a young woman who is, let's just say she's dressed, I would say in a somewhat avant-garde manner. She is wearing a beautifully tailored men's suit. It is very Madonna, Jean-Paul Gaultier, circa 1992, like very like kind of like it has like it almost has like there's like a bustier with like a jacket over it, right? It's that kind of thing. She has very short butch haircut, and she's sort of greeting everyone. She has a couple of young men who seem to be like hanging out with her. They're twins and they're really hot, and they're also like wearing like really like like beautifully tailored like suits and stuff, but they're like a little bit more foppish. They're dressed in like kind of like I don't know, like they have like big like frilly cravats around their neck, and polka dot waistcoats and things like that, right? And they are everyone who's getting out of the carriages are all younger. Um, in fact, Langfisk and Knox, you're probably the oldest people here, or with the exception of the incredibly ancient butler at the very front door, who looks like he's like older than the trees. Everyone is pretty young. No sign of Theodora. And your carriage pulls up, and footmen, come open the carriage doors. Langfisk, what do you do? What is your role in all this?
Langfisk, wearing that billy cop hat tilted down, is wearing plaid wool green with khaki and red like lining on it. There is emerald like silk piping on it. There is a matching waistcoat. There is a high collared shirt that is open, and there is a hunting ascot tied into it. Um, there are the puffed out thigh pants that you would typically like that got popular more at the turn of the century. And there are very nice, very well oiled brown knee length hunting boots that those thigh pants come out of. And has a bag, has like a leather satchel with all of his goodies. It's his goodie bag, his hunting bag that y'all would know. And is riding the shotgun uh part of the carriage. Like before we pulled past the gate, hopped into the shotgun area, and then was just riding with a breakaway hunting shotgun along, just scanning the way. Step down when the footmen go to open the carriage, just goes and then just stares him down, and then opens the carriage door, and then hits the lever for the steps to fall down, and holds out a hand.
I love it. Let's have everybody else's arrival. How as you get out of the carriage, like what does it look like? What do we see? Is Hope with us also?
Well,
Question
Jason,
mark?
I was going to reveal that in a second. One way or
Okay,
the other.
sorry. Well, let us know.
I think we see Knox step out dressed absolutely normal for Knox. Like, there is a little bit of blood splatter on the edge of the collar. Like, no significant non-professional attention paid to appearance. He takes off his glasses for a second, squints a little bit at the sunlight, puts them back on, steps down, and then we see a much younger foot hit the steps. But we have established something here, and that is that B gets to tell us what Hope is wearing in any given situation.
Ooh, Lord Grey had so much fun dressing her up for this because he knew it was a big event. And he spent the entire time being like, "No, darling, when you're in high society," and was like giving her pointers, like picking out outfit pieces for her. He has purposefully dressed her with not a speck of blue on. In fact, it is green and gold. It is beautiful. It's kind of like a tailored waistcoat. It's the very impractical skirt. Like she can still move in it, but like this is not something you would go riding in. It has this swish to it that is just absolutely majestic. He was even like, do a twirl, do a twirl. See? Exactly. He's I imagine with Knox's help has like done her hair up in the fashion of the day with a little like a little doodad in it, like a little bejeweled bird or some shit. It's very she's very fashionable right now. Like the most fashionable teen like in the house.
We brought a young with us. It's okay. um, love it. Yeah. I take my hand out, help her down. We step out of the way.
Oh man, I guess that's me. Uh, Tim is a single drop of ichor from an ancient deity. This all black, the finest color, all simultaneous, same thing, except his pale ass face. that's blocking everything else. Uh, Other than that, it's just standard.
I love it. Well, the one thing that is most obvious about everyone here, in addition to everyone being quite young, everyone's really hot. Like, it was like all the pretty kids, pretty rich kids are here at Brathwaite Hall today. This is a perfect time to talk about the Mask of Beauty. Everyone, please narrate a flashback to a time when you felt truly beautiful. And you can interpret that however you want, Lord Grey, since I presume you feel truly beautiful all the time.
I'll in fact take that as a go to start because I have thoughts. Um, the sun streams through a window onto the face of a man we all recognize. He's laying in bed, dehydrated, burnt, near death. It's Langfisk, not Lord Grey. A hand brushes the hair from his face and offers him water, touches all gentle hands clearly have never worked a day in their life. You're an angel. And Lord Grey just smiles. He knows he's a vision. He's sacrificed everything to be perfect, stunning, undeniable. But the man in bed is looking at him like he is the sun, like he's everything. And only one other person ever looked at him like that. That person is dead and gone. This person, right here, right in front of him, absolutely powerless for the moment under his hands, is not gone. And he isn't letting this one get away.
Who would like to go next?
I can hop on next. It's very appropriate. The last time Langfus felt beautiful, let's just make it recent. Hey, let's do it. Getting ready for this party, going to Braithwaite Manor, Braithwaite Hall. We see Langfisk wearing standard clothing, but you can see the suit off in the background. But in the foreground focus, we see Lord Grey probably reading with like one of those old like book props and just turning the page, while we can see Langfisk gently taking Lord Grey's face and then tapping a blade in water, and then the finest shave across cheeks and brow, like just doing a full on like getting all of the hairs and the baby hairs that are growing back so that it's just this almost cherubic face, that there's not nary a single hair coming out. Lord Grey asks our dear Langfisk, how come he doesn't shave as often? Langfist just goes, don't have much time for it. Unless we're getting on prim and proper, then I'll go ahead and take a razor to the cheeks and everything, but I keep the mustache full and free. Besides, it covers up a lot of the nastiness. As you can see that there are scars where it's like, nicks and cuts and like deep jagged, um, like just like where there's been rips in the flesh, and they've been sewn back together hastily. And Lord Grey stops Langfisk's hand from shaving one part of the cheek, and says, "Come sit," and stands up and waits for Langfisk to sit down. Langfisk is confused, but does sit down, and then doesn't know what to do with the straight razor, and Lord Grey takes it. And dips it to the water and then gets a smattering of shaving cream and starts applying it to the cheeks and gingerly, just wordlessly shaving his face. And the whole time, Langfist looking up. And there's just those thoughts of just like me, pick me. I'm worthy. Right now, do it now. There's no better time than the present. Choke me, use me, that kind of thing. And then it's just in a flash, it's gone. And then Langfisk looks at the mirror after Lord Grey's done. You can see that the cheeks and all of the scruff has been shaved away, and there's just that full plump mustache. And there's just like a moment where Langfisk feels a little bit human, and then gets back to work.
We see Knox's eye reflected in a small mirror. As we pull back, we can see that he's using the small reflective surface to carefully dissect the area around an ear. And as we zoom out, we can tell that he's in the middle of surgically dissecting and removing the skin from a cadaver, taking great detail, leaning over, making notes, drawing things. This is a much younger Knox, but probably somewhere in university, studying the human form and anatomy. As he steps back, there's a fully vivisected, with all the flesh removed skeleton that's been assembled on the table next to him. And as he moves over to the other one, you can hear him muttering to himself, working over the different way, all the different joints and bones and all the different pieces of the body start to come together. And all of a sudden, we see Knox become more aware of himself than he normally is. His eyes fixate on his hand as he drops the phalanges that he was holding on the skeleton. And you can see him looking at his own flesh, flexing the bones beneath it, paying attention to how the muscle pulls. You see him rotate one arm, then the other, stretching and grinning and feeling the perfection of his own body and the way his individual pieces all fit together before he goes back to carving on the other corpse.
I think before we see a young Septimus, we have this crone in a doorway with a bunch of maids giggling and scuttling off to the carriage.
Are you sure you'll be all right, dear? This will be quite a journey.
And the young man just sort of waves her off. No, I'll be absolutely fine. I'll be perfect. The house will still be, everything will be okay. I'll be okay.
Well, if anything happens, dear, remember there is holy water in the cabinets, crucifix, anything, salt.
Of course, thank you, thank you. Like, it's like trying to get this woman to go away. In fact, you can take this, and he runs to a counter and a little box with a coin purse and presents it as a gift. Make sure you gift yourself something. Thank you for everything, truly. I hope this could make up for something. With his cute little eyes. And she does receive it, a little surprised by the gift, and that was enough to get her out the door. And once it shuts, Tim is almost like a bird flying up the stairs to his own quarters, and he rummages through some like old packages, a closet, since this was his mother's room before the incident. And eventually he finds a summer dress and kind of examines it, looks at the ruffles, kind of appraises like his own size and then the size of the dress before slowly, like inch by inch, fabric to skin, trying on the dress and finding a mirror and feeling alien but feeling right at the same time, kind of smoothing out his own frame and like adoring himself for the first time and not being the demon spawn that killed his mother, but possibly something else, possibly human, something femme, and having this exhale of relief and acceptance. Everyone's feeling beautiful.
I love it. Well, your hostess at this little shindig is greeting everyone in a line as they all are sort of getting out of the carriages and getting ready to go, rest in their rooms at the house. She and the two twins that are with her, they are going down, they're meeting, they're hugging, they're greeting everybody, they're hugging, and she occasionally takes a red silk pocket square from one of the twins and tucks it in the pocket of one of the guests, or or pins it to their collar, right? And when she gets to your carriage, to where you're all at, she says, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I don't think we've met. My name is Tatiana Brathwaite. These are my best friends in the world, the Woolsey twins, Preston and Weston. Say hello, Preston and Weston." And they say, "Hello, Preston
Hello,
and Weston."
Weston.
And she says, "And who are you?"
Amazing.
I present to you, with all the bells and whistles that comes with it, Lord Baston Grey and his party, Nicholas Aspectum, Septimus Redding, and
Yes, yes. Lord Grey, your name is known to me, and I'm so happy. But I have to confess, everything I'd heard about you wouldn't lead me to believe that you were into hunting.
Well, you don't know everything about me, darling. It's okay. People are multifaceted.
I love it all. Boxing, rats and dogs, bear baiting. But nothing gets my blood up like a hunt. Hooves roaring through the glen, the thrill of leaping over hedges, the feeling of so much power between your legs. And the fear, of course, the fear of knowing that in an instant the horse can buck and send you crashing to your death. But also the fear that radiates from the prey. It's sort of a pheromone, isn't it?
I think you and I are more alike than different. I'm sure we're
Indeed,
going, and we have a
indeed.
standing invitation to Miss Brathwaite's home. So I'm
Oh,
sure
you're
we'll all
friends of
get
my
on fine.
mother.
Yes. Yes, darling.
Tatiana Brathwaite is Theodora's daughter, apparently adopted daughter because she's white and Theodora's black. And you've heard of her, probably heard rumors of her penchant for blood sport. And this is apparently a big hunt that she has arranged with all of her friends. And you are here on that day. She takes a red silk handkerchief and tucks it in your pocket, Septimus,
Oh no.
and then says, "Well, we'll be heading out to the hunting grounds in an hour. That's just enough time to put on your togs and, well, you did bring riding togs, yes?" And she looks at Septimus. "You won't need any, dear. Don't worry about it."
um, you're gonna see Langfisk just without any kind of pause, just immediately slip off his boots and then place them in front of Lord Grey, and then it's going to grab a second pair of boots that do not look as nice. They look pretty shoddy. They're like riding boots for like on the carriage, and just slip them on.
He like does a little pat on your cheek, like, oh, thank you, dear. And like, oh, he's really trying not to look concerned, but I think all of you, like literally every single person with him, like he's like kind of shot you a look, like an oh fuck look, like just very cash, like, mm, mm.
When I was grabbing the when Lord Grey was kind of tapping my cheek and everything. Can I try to slip that handkerchief into my own pocket from Lord Grey's pocket? That memento, that
No,
token?
it was given to Septimus, not Lord
Oh, it was
Grey.
given to Septimus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, never
baby.
mind. You're fucked, Tim.
Sorry, babe.
1 hour. If you need refreshments or anything, let Elmer know. Um, well, it's so nice to meet you. And
Likewise.
she and Weston and Preston continue on down the line of guests. What do you all do?
We pick up the second half of a conversation of me whisperingly explaining the concept of hunting to Hope as this interaction finishes. I say, however, I don't think that that standard game is to be expected in this hunting experience.
Simultaneously, you hear the sound of Tim's stomach falling right in his ass.
Lord Grey's like leading, like trying to do the thing, like he knows how high society works. He knows kind of how to move around parties, and is trying to make everyone look like they're supposed to be here. Casually moving us into the house, through the parlor, away from people a little bit, but not too much, not to look suspicious. And it's just like, what the fuck? And just looks at Tim like, that's rough.
I'm sorry. Are you going to help me out of this? I feel very strange.
Feels strange.
Yes, that's what I said. Strange.
Like what? Like what's happened? Like, walk me through it, Tim.
I have the assumption that we're hunting the little red. Is he the little mark? That I'm going to be hunted. I think that this is what we are getting at, but I don't know the degree of which we are being hunted. Like, it's a mix of excitement, but also fear because I might die.
You think that's what the handkerchief was all about?
Yes, that's what I'm making a very broad assumption about that.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
You wanna split? You wanna confuse them, or do you want them to? Well, do you want
Assuming
to
you're having this conversation as you're going into the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're inside. Like,
Yeah, we're
Langfist,
walking and talking.
Langfist, you have to split up because you can't go into the front. So
I have to split. Oh, I can't. Yeah,
Oh, I actually
Yeah.
think I have to say, if they actually try to make him split up, I'm like, look at him. Excuse you. There will be like an argument from Lord Grey, like he is. We have dressed him up like a fancy show dog. Why can he not come in the front?
they will eventually just relent and let
I'm a good
Langfist
boy, I
come to the
promise.
front.
He's house trained.
But you're all, as you all come in, if you have the red silk square, you are the footmen are pointing you towards a set of stairs going down. If you do not have the red silk square, you are invited to go up the stairs to your room.
And just one moment, you. It's fine. We're like in the fucking parlor, like where we should be going off having this discussion.
Yeah, you can take a moment. Continue.
Do you want out of this?
I think I'm well equipped to stand up for myself. I'm fine. I'll be fine. I'll be
How
fine.
fast are you?
I'm giving you an out, Tim. I'm looking over at Lord Grey, and I look at the red handkerchief.
What are you? I mean, to be fair, he is a lot more physically capable than you, dear. But I would rather you not get shot. I mean, either one of you, of course. But he realizes what he said in front of everyone. Like, of course, darling. Not. I don't want anyone to get shot. But he does have a gun, which they may strip you of. But you're very fast. I just.
TikTok, yes or no?
I will take my chances because I believe in you as much as I believe in myself.
Fine. Well, Don't do it with your pants undone. And I'm going to get close to you, and I'm going to look like I'm unbuttoning up your trousers, and I'm going to shove the 1851 Colt Navy revolver into your trousers, and I'm going to button your waistcoat and then do the slide down the shoulders and everything, and I'm going to stand back and then stand next to Lord Grey.
Thank you for keeping me proper, Mr. Langfisk. If you see me, treat me kindly, and then just cut this off.
My darling, be safe.
He's fucked.
I think
Oh, absolutely. She's fucked. Absolutely.
I'm going to give I'm going to ask Hope to go with Lord Grey and Langfist for a minute. I'm going to try to go downstairs with Tim and see what they do.
Okay. No one will stop you if you go downstairs.
Oh my god. We watch you like, oh, he's like that. He's into that. All right.
Well, as those of you who go upstairs, which sounds like it's just Lord Grey and Langfisk at this point,
And Hope. She's
And
coming
Hope.
with us. Our daughter. Our niece.
you have a suite of rooms that you're directed to in Brathwaite Hall, and they do have riding clothes laid out for people who need them or who need to augment their look. There are also weapons available for you to choose from. There are, but they're all it's not like guns. It's like crossbows and nets and lassos and things like that, right? What is hope? Well, hope is just probably just curiously pawing over everything. But what are you two doing?
Don't knock that one. Put it down.
Listen
What are you-
listen to Langfisk, dear. He's very good about sharp things.
What do you need me to do?
I don't fucking know.
I can stick by you, or I can try to hunt Tim before others hunt him.
I'm safe here. I'm one of these people. I think you need to find Tim before someone else finds Tim, because I don't know the rules of this game, and I'm not sure it's one he'll be good at playing. I'm not even sure if it's one he can win.
Tim, downstairs, it's basically just a big. It almost looks like it's almost like you're in a like in the kitchen or something. It's like some kind of utility space where there are lots of young men and women. They're all as pretty as everyone is. They're all really pretty, and they're all just laughing and giggling, and they're all getting naked. Coats are coming off, waistcoats are coming off, shirts are coming off, and that really, really old butler, he's got little fox tails and ears that he is passing out to all of them. That's what's happening downstairs. Tim, what do you do? Knox, what do you do for that matter?
Yeah, let's get Tim's response before we see the absolute awkward mess that Knox was not prepared to walk into.
Y'all, what if it was called the freak tweet? I think it's unfortunately, Tim is still riding that this voyeuristic bullshit. It is going with the flow.
They're all kind of laughing, and the one thing that everyone thinks is really funny is, or that is remarked upon, is that Tati, which is what they call Tatiana, Tati can only get away with this because her mother is spending the week in London, and so that is one thing. Another thing is you'll overhear some people who are having the rules of the hunt explained to them. The rules are, if you are caught by a hunter, you, as the fox, have the option of staying caught or being released. If you get released, you continue running away. But if you stay caught, it's because you want the hunter to have their way with you.
Kayla will sign bottom. This is
And they're all
ridiculous.
kind of talking about like who they want to get caught by, who they don't want to get caught by, and all that kind of thing, right? One is really excited to be caught at the same time by the Woolsey twins. Just throw that out there.
Knox has turned his back to all this, is totally unaware it's happening, takes his jacket off, puts his black bag down, and turns around and goes, all right, everybody line up for pre-hunt inspections. I'll have a few
What is
questions for everyone. Yes, disrobing is incredibly helpful to the inspection process. Yes, just line up. I just need a little bit of biographical information just to make sure everybody stays and plays safely.
and I think that like one of the attendees, a particularly fit young blonde man, says, I thought we were doing hunters and foxes this week. We weren't doing doctors and patients.
Yes, we just assumed that in favor of safety, it would be best if there was a little bit of doctor patient and then fox and hunters.
And I think everyone's just like, okay. Meanwhile, Lord Grey, are you going to get ready for the hunt?
Oh yeah, I have no idea that Tim has been assigned to bottom. But I assume I am going to have to catch a person. And I'm not just gonna not participate. Like, as long as it's not my friend, I don't really give a shit. Because I assume we're hunting people for sport.
Right.
And so I am fully geared out to hunt a person for sport in not a sexy way. Not that I'm not down for the other way, but I don't know. And I'm like encouraging Langfisk to also maybe take a less lethal route just because he's after our beautiful our beautiful fox friend. And I think at one point he turns to Hope and is like, no, dear, I think you should probably not do this. Is one of those things that takes practice. I think you should probably practice riding a horse first before you try to shoot things from the horse. It's quite a task.
Hope is like currently tangled up in a net.
Oh, darling. Okay. And he's just like untangling her, like, oh, goodness gracious, we told you not to touch these. At least it's not a crossbow. Where is your father?
Indeed. Shall we fast forward to the hunt then? So
There's just a lot of inappropriate conversations asking about people about their experience with syphilis and other,
Right,
other
yeah.
just to make sure it's overly clinical and kind of a turnoff for everyone.
Yo, you're totally
I'm
bringing
ruining
down
the
the mood
mood
here. You're ruining the
downstairs.
mood completely. Yeah, completely. That's okay though. These are a bunch of kinky, horned up, rich Victorian teens, and they will
Yeah,
power
they're
through
gonna
it
be
somehow. And so, although they're older, they're TV teens. They're 27-year-old teens, right? They are getting ready. You hear the horns, you know, and everyone's coming out. The hunters go out first. They have food laid out. There's like a table laid out with food out in the little like kind of tree line that goes into the woods where the hunt will take place. And they, there's there's laughter, there's chatter. One thing you're going to pick up on very quickly, and this will be your option for the night phase, is Tatiana has convinced an old family friend, the proprietor of Visage, the exclusive cosmetics and perfumery, to do a private event for them tonight. So that's a thing. Also, it's called Visage, and Lord Grey failed to mention this earlier. Visage.
Absolutely did not say a word about it. Didn't even vaguely describe it.
Giant clue what was going on there. And so that's an option in your night phase, is to confront Sally here at Brathwaite Hall. But for now, how is the party going, Lord Grey? You're really like a person of great fascination because, well, frankly, everyone here is like between the ages of like 19 and 26, and you've got to at least be in your mid 30s, and they're like
much older than that, but yeah, exactly. No one needs to know that. It's fine.
They're all but they're like you look so beautiful, and you're so attractive, and I love your old-fashioned style, they say, as you're as they're
Yeah, you see, I think Langfisk, and probably Knox, if he's actually joined the hunting party, gets to see him die a little, that he's having to do this, and they're like, oh my God, and old. Like
yeah,
he just looks like he looks like he wants to be slaughtered, like, but he's like he is in his element mostly, other than God Jesus, he hasn't done this in a while. He forgot parties were like this because he's been doing hunter shit. So he's mostly got this. He's trying to, like, he's not, I don't think he's even trying to include you two. After like a minute, he tries to probably include Knox once, realizes that mistake, and is like, I'm not gonna make you do this anymore. Langfisk you're both gonna, like, he's gonna try to pull you into conversations the way you do at parties when you know everyone and they don't, even though he doesn't know anybody.
Nice. I love it. Langfisk, what are you doing during the party?
I am listening, doing the active listening thing of, oh yeah, indeed. And I am scanning the party to see if there is anything like out of the ordinary, any irregulars, anything that's like
The first thing you'll pick up on, all the crossbows are being loaded not with bolts. Well, with bolts, but not sharp bolts. They have little packets of colorful powder so that when they strike the target, they explode with a color to indicate that the target's been hit.
Like paintball. Is this Victorian paintball?
I think you see like Langfisk like doing the math, looking around, red silk like Tati, like the parent is away. This is a party, and like you see like the math formulae and everything floating above his brain, and then it's just a ding, and then Langfisk gets it and goes, oh Jesus, oh sweet Jesus.
What?
I don't think this is what we think it is. I think this is something quite different. I think I think Tim's gonna be okay. I think Tim's gonna be not okay.
Are you positive?
I need to scout.
Okay, do that. Don't die. Lord Grey has not looked at the weapons. Not even a little.
I'm going to say pardon us, and I'm going to bow down and lead to Lord Grey and say, they're all going to be busy fucking and sucking each other. I'm going to start snooping around.
I think he's so befuddled.
And just say, lovely evening.
Mm-hmm.
Knox, what are you doing during the party?
the end of that conversation after you lean back out, Knox goes, "Yes, a sex party." Slightly too loud.
And
You do?
that's the only time it clicks.
I think eventually, Langfisk, one of the other valets will come find you, and he'll say, "Oh, there you are. You need to come put on your costume.
My costume?
A hunt has to have hounds."
Wes is gonna say gulp out of character. And then Langfist is just gonna go and just groan, lead the way, and just say fucking shit, fucking cunt.
You'll discover very quickly that all the valets, just the valets, are the hounds, and they all put on hound paraphernalia, we'll say, in preparation for the hunt.
Hope, let's explore the grounds. This is almost everything I told you earlier about hunting is accurate and true even to this situation, but this is of a distinctly different mode. Come with me, darling.
Indeed.
Um,
Tim, how are things going with you? The game warden has corralled all of the foxes, and the foxes are all like very giggly and they're excited, and they're all being like gathered, to be eventually paraded in front of the hunting party. What are you doing during all this?
He's putting his mind elsewhere, despite being nude with all these other sweaty, horny fucks. Surprised to see there's no horny demons. No ink. This is just people. People are like this. They're not possessed or under any influence. They want to do this. This is going through her head.
Great. Well, the horns are blasted again. You can hear them in the distance, Knox, as you and Hope go to walk the grounds. Where do you head? The lake, back to the house,
We're headed
somewhere
towards the
else?
house. I mean, ideally, Knox is gonna want to look. She offered to build me a laboratory out here. She hit up Sally. She's obviously interested
Up something.
in something. And so, I mean, if there appears to be any sort of new construction, I'll wander that way. Otherwise, he's going to look for libraries or offices, one of the two.
I like it. I like it. I'll tell you what you find. I'm not triggering the information move because there are no active threats. So
Yeah.
I'm just telling you what you find as you roam around. Good. So I think the thing that that will probably stick out to you the most, Knox, is there is a wing of the house that has been cordoned off, and everyone was warned very explicitly not to go to that wing of the house. It's very important to Mrs. Brathwaite that no one goes to this wing of the house. And even though everyone is there, kind of like Tidy's basically having a house party while Mom's away. Even she knows not to let her friends violate this edict. So that's probably the most interesting thing.
Yeah,
Do you want to try to
like
sneak in
go
there?
I would like to go there.
That is going to be the day move, to sneak into that wing of the house. What are you afraid is going to happen how are you going to do it, first of all? And then, what are you afraid is going to happen if you get caught or if you fail?
I think the play, generally speaking, is mostly like patience and knowing that attention is elsewhere in the house and just waiting for the moment where where theoretically no one is looking to absent-mindedly wander in with hope.
It's mostly just that old butler he's the biggest issue.
Yeah.
That'll just be composure then. What are you afraid is going to happen if you get caught?
I think let's see. God, I'm afraid we're gonna have to go back to that fucking party. Literally.
I love it. I love it. Go ahead and let's just roll, see how you do first on that. Let's see if you have any conditions that might apply. I don't think so.
That's a 10.
Nice. You will be able to eventually get into the restricted part of the house. We'll talk about that in a bit. Langfisk, would you like to describe your puppy costume?
Yeah, he's a good boy. What I think you see, like, it's like, come on, and then Langfest is like, I'm not wearing this, and it's like, you have to, and it's like, fine. And you see stepping out is a sleek black doublet with gold trim. There are those, like, it's like William Shakespeare style doublet, like servant kind of, and then there's those puffy pants, black puffy pants with gold trim, and then there's gold leggings, and then little black leather shoes that like almost have like a paw-like quality to them, like the cobbler gave like a slight paw-like quality to them. Instead of the big, wide, expansive like collar that they have, though, there is a thick leather, like red collar with a little like bell on it. And I think the most puppy part of it is that there is a headdress. It's not a mask, it's a headdress that looks like a Doberman almost, or like a hunting dog with like pointed ears. The ears have been clipped. And it like down the back, and like it goes on the head and then down the back is like this almost like fur like leather quality that tapers off in a little tail. And it's just like just a sight to behold. Clearly like somebody with a lot of money and a puppy affectation designed this, and just like steps out and just like looks like you can just see the mustache sticking at the bottom of this like dog snout and everything. Just pissed.
I love it. I love it. That's great. All right. Well, let's do the hunt, and then we'll start transitioning into the next phase. The hunt, in summary, many of the hunters are on horses. Some have chosen to go on foot, and they're all lined up. The hounds are brought out, and they're all like, and the valets who are used to this, they're like really playing it up. They're like, and they actually like crawl around like dogs, and they're very like, and they look really anxious and excited, right? I assume Langfisk is not debasing himself in this way, but who knows? And just the sullen dog over in the corner.
It's okay. I call him I pet his head and call him a good boy anyway.
Tati comes out in her riding gear, and she is on a horse, and she also is joined by the Woolsey twins on horseback as well. And eventually, the foxes are paraded in front of the hunting party, and the hunters all give up like whoops of excitement. It's very like, I don't know. It also almost has the feel of like a frat party in a sense. Like the foxes are being like kind of led by the game warden, and the foxes are all like, like trying to like, they're like they're terrified, like oh, but they're bouncing around and with their little ears and their little tail, and on a lot of them nothing else. And Tim, what are you doing during the parade of foxes?
The shame is finally here. Tim is red as fuck. Just a cherry. Red is the ears and tail.
Indeed. The foxes are given a head start and allowed to, to run ahead in the woods, and they all run off. And then the actual hunt begins, with everyone taking off with their weapon of choice. And this is not the most difficult hunt in the world because the foxes, they do that sort of like running away from Michael Myers thing, where they're like, and then fall down like every 20 feet, like, especially if they see a hunter they're really like trying to get away from. They're like, and then the hunter catches them, and every now and then you'll see a fox like, they will want to be released, and it's actually like it's really cordial. Like the hunter doesn't like make a big deal about it. Like it's not like they're going to be offended. They do there's like a polite kiss, and then the fox like runs off, and then the hunter goes to chase another fox. And but if the fox gets caught, the hunter takes them right there in the forest. And so you're frequently running by like people just doing the deed up against trees or in the bushes or whatever, right? And that's all happening. I guess what I want to know, also the hounds are also part of the hunt. So if a hound catches a fox, they have the same arrangement, right? So you're either hunting as a hound or you're a hunter. And I guess what I'd like to know from each of you is, do you catch someone or someone's? And if so, do they wish to stay caught? And what happens then? In Tim's case, do you get caught? And if you let someone keep you, who are they? What makes you happy
I
to be
need to
caught?
open AO3 real quick. I need to check the tags. I think Tim is looking for Gray or Langfisk, like purposely kind of like dodging people and blowing kisses and stuff.
Yeah, very good. Let's just have a little bit of the hunt. Everybody narrate your little bit of the hunt. What happens? How does the hunt end for you? How does it go for you?
I'm really interested to see what Langfisk is doing because this is like Lord Grey's scene now. This is like, oh, he knows what's happening. Now I don't have to kill a guy, which was also fine, but like this is better. What's the puppy doing?
I think once everything commences, Langfisk is like, you're in it, just deal with it, get into it, and starts like hunting. Starts like moving close to the ground and keeping eyes and ears perked up. And I think what we really like at first, Langfist is like, keep an eye on Lord Grey, keep an eye out for Tim, help out Tim if he needs help. And then seeing some of these people coupling off or even grouping off or anything in the woods, it's just like, I think they're gonna be fine. And so now, looking like he's hunting, Langfisk is stalking through the forest trying to find a Brathwaite or a twin or something. Just like I've got a nose on me. Let me do some hunting. Let me, like man is the most dangerous game. Let me try to hunt the hunter almost.
I like it. Yeah. They're into that. The twins are really into that.
Yeah.
So is this for an intention other than just like turning the tables sexually, or are you actually
Yeah, I
trying
think
to
I
learn
think it's
something?
turning the tables sexually.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
like
into that.
it's very much like oh, there's a big bad wolf in the woods or something like
Oh,
that
very
while you're
good. Yeah, I
hunting,
like
that
it.
kind of
Yeah,
thing.
I
And that's
like it.
probably how they're taking it. And Langfest is just like, I've got my eye on you. But from the
Yeah.
other side of the field, it's like, oh, the wolf is stalking us. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Well, how are things going with you, Lord Grey?
I think he has been he like keeps an eye on Linksys for a little while because he can tell he's kind of like not super vibing. And then when he seems to like something clicks and he's like, wait, I know how I can get into this. I'm like, okay, you're good. Have fun, honey. Like, you know, like he's like, I'm into this. And I was like, well, we did say we'd find Tim. And he has kind of been like flirting with some of the foxes, but he can tell there's like an intention behind a lot of these people's pairing off. Like, oh, that's who he's looking for. Okay. And so I think the way he finds Tim is shooting one of those crossbow bolts like right at his ass, like just because even if we don't hook up, I found you. It's a fun game. Like he didn't know he was going to be playing Victorian paintball.
What color is it? Like, what color is their hair?
Let's see. I think you get to pick. I think you get to pick what color it is.
Very weird. I'm just gonna go with red. Just
Beautiful. That was kind of my thought
baboon's
too.
ass.
Well, so Tim, how does the hunt go for you?
He's surprisingly springy. More gazelle than fox in terms of running and evading and dodging. And he's almost frightened by the bolt, but like chills when they see Gray. Oh no, oh dear, it seems that a fox has been caught, just like the full melodramatics and like falling to Gray's side.
Oh no.
Oh no, oh dear.
And the
Poor
thing is, though,
me.
there's like, I think there's probably like several foxes like trying to get caught by Lord Grey. So it's like a big, you probably have to chase off some foxes, or maybe not. I don't know.
Oh, I won't chase off any foxes. I'll look to this one and be like,
Well,
we're popping
Langfist,
more with my fucking crossbow bolt. We'll hit everybody. It's fine.
who does the big bad wolf catch? Is it the Woolsey twins or is it Tatiana?
I think at a point, Langfisk is getting bored by the twins. It's like, there's two of you. This should be more challenging. This should be fun. You should be flanking me. And we see Langfisk just almost like a waste of space and waste of time, and just takes the mask off, and is like looking around, and then hears a twig snap, and then a hoof, and then gets back into it, and then focuses on Tatiana and is like, I need to know your deal. I need to know, and is like then like honed in on her, trying to find like, let me, you're on a horse and everything. You probably have attendants and hounds around you. Let me see if I can like
I
get
think
you
she gives
alone.
chase. I think
Oh,
she
yeah.
gives chase out to the lake. It's just you and her. And how does that encounter go?
I think very much playing into it of like, you're not going to catch me. I'm running as fast as I can. And then like running around the lake's edge. And then Langfisk starts like calculating and being like, this is a multi-purpose outing excursion. We're learning a little bit. We're also letting, our hair down a little bit. If I can keep Tatiana distracted, then I can help the others stay safe. Very much
course.
like let me ring around the rosy. Let me take the long way around to figure out how I can get laid. And then there's just a point where it's like is purposefully gets his his butt in the air as he's trying to shimmy over a log, almost like waiting in poise, and you can just hear the smack and the paint go up of getting hit with a crossbow. And then just stands up and goes, oh no, you've caught me. Whatever am I to do? A lone little wolf out in the woods all by myself. And Tati, wordlessly, I think, gets off of the horse and even is just like tossing a net on Langfisk. And just like Langfisk is getting annoyed almost, and then feels like a lasso around a leg and gets pulled down on the ground. And I think the last thing we see before fading to black is Tatiana looks down at Langfisk as he's like trying to struggle and like pulls a boot knife out to cut the lasso, and she just puts a boot on his hand and pushes it to the ground, and then you can feel just like a little tilt up of the neck with like one of her like crossbows or something, and says, "Good dogs don't speak out of turn." And we can fade to black
And
with all
then,
the traffic.
and then all of a sudden, in the Forbidden Wing, we hear wolf howling in the far distance.
Well, let's talk about the Forbidden Wing. This wing is something of like a museum of Theodora's exploits when she was the pirate queen of Barbuda, famously. Let's paint the scene. What do we see on display here that shows that Theodora was a legendary terror of the high seas in her youth?
Um, the the ceiling is covered with what at first looks like like a dark rolling tapestry, and then you realize it is an extensive series of flags woven together from one end of the hall to the other of all the different ships that she took during her time.
I think that there is like an ornate cutlass that's been framed, and it's clearly like very well loved, very well taken care of, but also very well used. And it is like hung up above a fireplace or some other place of prominence in this room.
You can step on it and possibly miss it, but there's this perfectly kept mosaic from Pompeii.
There is a wall with shelves. If you've ever been to the Mutter Museum in Philadelphia, the skull room, there are skulls. And inside of these, with these skulls, you'll also see there are other trinkets, or maybe a burned flag or something of other pirate captains that crossed her.
And here is your final mastermind clue of the campaign, which you will use to eventually answer the question, and it's a big one. Here among her treasures, here among her treasures is a glass coffin, inside of which Langfit or Knox is Queen Victoria. We're going into the dusk phase. Let's get our dusk phase sorted before we go on break. I think because you are out in, you are not in London right now, I don't think you can do night work or the Resurrectionists this phase.
I left a note for the Resurrectionists.
Yeah. We're also not going to paint the scene about Hargrave House because we're not there. I will, however, ask you. Only one of you has to go back to watch the play to trigger that. The rest of you can stay at the party where there will be a pop-up shop of Visage at Brathwaite Hall where you will be able to confront Sally No Face, who we have established well before that she has a connection to the Brathwaites, right?
Yeah.
So this is not totally weird. What does everybody want to do? We'll start with Lord Grey.
God damn it. I don't, I always have to start, and I never have ideas. Because my thought is, what's the most interesting arrangement of people to stay and to go watch that play? Like that's the question I'm going to pose to the table, which sounds like a cop out, but like,
No, I'm kind of at the same spot. So
yeah,
like
like what's the most fun arrangement of hunters?
yeah, because like I think honestly, if I know Sally is there, I don't think I will leave. So I think the question would be like, had is Knox just totally unaware of this? Have you like kept him less? 'Cause he doesn't understand the nice politeness of like how you like you get other people dressed. You can dress Hope like you understand that. I don't. That's not a thing I understand. So I'm happy to go back and watch the play, but it also means Knox
It
has
would,
no idea that Sally is
I,
here.
if is this our final confrontation with Sally? I assume.
This is it. This is your chance to take Sally down.
I
Yeah.
think it would be robbing you of an interaction with
With
this
Sally,
colleague
if you,
you have.
yeah.
I don't think. I mean, that I'm not gonna make a character choice for you, but
No, I'm
he's
fine either
definitely
way.
talked
That's
about
yeah,
that.
that's kind of the context. I'm like, I could only not know if Knox is gonna leave, right? Like,
Certainly, I have to assume we talked about this in the carriage, and
Yeah.
that I roundabout like told you that this had been happening for weeks, and you're all like, "What the fuck?"
I mean, the mechanically smart thing to do is send Langfisk and just because Langfisk can just pop back over whenever we need.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is true.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
true.
If need
huh?
be, yeah, I can just pop up. So yeah, I
No.
mean, Langfist can go ahead and do what he came to do and goes, well, I've done my work here.
There's no apparent danger here, so
Yeah, yeah. So
You're like, I had
yeah.
fun.
So let me do some actual work instead of this frivolity that's here and everything like that. Yeah. Yeah.
So Langfisk watching the play. Tim, you gonna go with Langfisk or you stay at the house?
Bestie, it's up to you. What do you want? I'm cool either way.
I mean, King in Shadows feels very Tim vibed
All right.
also.
Come along.
And have you two hung out?
I don't think so.
I think you two need to hang out. Get some bestie time. Talk about whatever the fuck just happened.
I love it. Very well then. Sounds like we have our stuff sorted here. There is no unseen if you're watching the play. The play is the unseen. It is significantly more involved than normal. So I will. Oh, actually, let's see here. I gotta make sure I'm doing the rules right for the King in Shadows. It concludes. Da, 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 da. Okay, great. There are 3 acts to the play. They all have paint the scene questions attached to them. You're all responsible for all 3 parts of the King in Shadows. I will clip this for you.
Can you drop it on Discord? For some reason, opening things out of Zoom is a challenge for me right now.
I can definitely do that. Okay. So we will get that going, and then I think like a 10-minute break would be good, just so you all have plenty of time to read the King in File or the King in Shadows material. And so let's do that.
All right, we'll be back in just about 10 minutes to keep on playing The Between. and we are back for the night phase. Jason, go ahead and take us on in.
All right. The King in Shadows, Act 1. Langfisk, Tim, Act 1 is somewhat normal. It depicts the day-to-day life of a female protagonist identified as the Journeywoman. It ends when the Journeywoman receives news that her 3 immediate family members, mother, father, and brother, have all been killed in a bizarre fishing accident. Paint the scene, everyone. The play features a Greek-style chorus that collectively narrates much of the story. What sort of masks do they wear, and why do they feel out of place?
I have to hop fish masks. I think one person is wearing clearly one of the fish masks from Crimwell Gardens, but it's scaled up somehow. And instead of being the size of like a regular face, it is massive, like a whole fish head that sits on their shoulders. I think it's like uncanny how exact it looks like exactly those masks.
The masks representing the family are all comedy. Not to say that it's sad that they die, but they are experiencing the joy of the afterlife.
There was a dang giraffe at one point. I think maybe it was like a Noah's Ark kind of like they like using some stuff from a Noah's Ark kind of set play. And like so there's just like a giraffe mask at one point, just out of place.
In this deep chorus, there's one person in the back who has this just white mask with black holes that to any modern viewer would be very obvious is a hockey mask, very much in the style of Jason.
Visage. An exclusive boutique transported from London out here to Brathwaite Hall. Everyone has been instructed to arrive in nothing but their small clothes, please. Because when you get there, you are presented with an array of fashions on mannequins that have been arranged all around this large parlor. And there are stations where you can go and have makeup put on. There is a build your own perfume, mix your own perfume like part. And all of this is going on. No immediate sign of Sally No Face, though there are a few shop attendants who you will recognize from the London Visage, Lord Grey. Some of them might even like give you like a nod of acknowledgement, like, oh hey, For those of you who are at Visage, and Langfisk, because of your performance earlier in the day, you're not even there. It's Nox and Lord Grey, right? And Hope. I would like to know, what do you let's just get started with clothing. What do you find that you put on?
I think for Nox, it is this like very daring crimson, like very modern cut suit. Every single aspect of it, except for a few small accents in this bright, bloody red color. We see the smaller accents on the suit are filled out in this this metallic finish that kind of alternates between bronze and gold as it shimmers in the light. And it's very obvious it's for him, and he is very uncomfortable putting it all on. This whole thing, he is unnerved is not quite right. Like uncertain of what he's supposed to do. Like it's very obvious. Like here's the thing in front of me, and he's. It's very obvious that he's entered into this very kind of rigid mental state to just kind of push his way through what he considers the ridiculousness of this and the performative nature of it.
The entire time, Bastion is like, "Oh, yeah, that you look fabulous. Finally, like finally, like we should be dressing you like this all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
What is this? Don't you agree? Don't you agree?"
It just seems to take a long time to put on all these extra. He's like got like layers that he's like, I don't
Who?
like. I mean, I know how to do it all. Like, but it just
Yes.
it seems frivolous.
It's not frivolous to look good. It's important. It's a part of moving about society.
Yes, it certainly is.
I think he's talking to you while he's like essentially naked. Like, by the way, like he has not put on the clothes yet. Like he's like giving you this lecture about fashion in his underwear. Like, you know.
And I have some thoughts on Hope, but we'll deal with Hope in a bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Septimus, this play, as well established in and out of character, this play is a ritual of some sort. It is a passage to another world. It is a thinning of the veil. How are the dark entities responding to it as you watch it?
Their whispers are almost critique. Like things that aren't necessarily in place, possibly like an etching is done backwards, or there's not enough blood, or just very minute things, like someone in a crowd behind you complaining the entire time.
I love it. Langfisk, do you often take in culture?
I like a good boxing match. I like the Nickelodeon. I also like to see quite a bit of horse racing. Yeah, culture, all that rough and tumble stuff.
Indeed, indeed. Act 2 is considerably more strange. It depicts the journeywoman's travels in the underworld with a character called the Boatman as they seek to find the court of the occluded king in order to petition him for the release of her family members from his shadowy realm. Paint the scene. What strange vistas are displayed on the backdrop during the journeywoman's travels through the underworld?
There is a patch of flayed skin used to fix the backdrop. Like it's not even painted, just a good old slab, maybe someone's stomach or back sewed into it.
I think there is a scene that is clearly Hargrave House. And it's not just Hargrave House, it's Hargrave House during the werewolf incident. I think it's during the Rick incident. I think it's very clear. It almost looks like someone took a picture of it.
In the middle of it, what appears to be documents just start rolling across the page. You can catch out scant names and places. You hear slight gasps in the audience as if something on the page is unnerving people who are catching sight of what it is. And vague murmurs and insulted tones break out in the audience.
There's a point during this woman's journey to the underworld, and this is where they really lost Langfisk. Because at one point he whispers to Tim, "Do you think this is a metaphor? And then on the backdrop, as it's moving, it's like a conveyor belt of like this vistas and everything. And then all of a sudden, the actress starts saying, "This is a metaphor. This is a metaphor." And then you see along the backdrop, just "this is a metaphor" written in different languages over and over again, making it look like a sky. And then Langfist goes, I don't understand. Okay, I'm
That,
out. I,
we would call that heavy-handed. Um,
okay,
yes,
okay.
yes.
Seems a bit unnecessary, but okay. Can I leave?
Everyone at Visage, all of the party attendees, are encouraged to use fashion and cosmetics and perfume and hairstyle. They probably have hairdressers there. They're encouraged to use these things to express their true self, to express their hidden desires, to express the taboo, perhaps, or the truth. Everyone, please describe one of the party attendees, not yourselves, and how they are expressing themselves at Visage.
There is a young and up and coming politician here who is very well known outside of this group for very strict policies. He's a no nonsense kind of guy. And he argues with people out loud. This is back when probably people fist fought in Parliament. And he has, I imagine he was even like a hunter during this thing. But while he is looking through the fashion, he has found a variety of things that look like collars and ropes, and has handed this beautiful pearlescent chain to another party goer, and he is like almost fully nude except for these pearls and chains and ropes.
There's an older woman at the perfumery station where people are mixing different scents, and she's picking up ones that you can see other people just like enter into this kind of heady space whenever they inhale, and she's just moving them away, not impressed by any of them. And then she picks one up and she breathes deeply in it. She kind of holds on to it for a minute, and you see the eyebrow of the attendant at the station raise a little bit. Um, and then she goes and she picks up a few more, finds another one, and takes another deep room. And he kind of wrinkles his face and catches the eye of one of the lead attendants who's been walking around the room. And as she's about to mix these two, so she says, "Oh, ma'am, please." And then the lead attendant just cuts him off. I'm sorry. Steps in, "Ma'am, if these are the scents that speak to you, if these are the ones that are in your heart, please use them." And she mixes the two of them together. You can see the faces of everybody around start to gag and vomit as she delights in this absolutely putrescent scent that she has created, and starts to kind of bathe her neck and upper body in, as everybody else quickly moves away from the table. She's delighting in this rancid aroma.
I'm gonna say at the other end of that long pearl chain is a gloved hand. Someone who is still in the hunter outfit, at that gear, with some like locks of hair falling off the shoulders. This was a debutante, and she decided to say a little shrug and cut her hair to parade the congressperson. Well, politician.
I think there are like clear like wrap or like lash marks on the tops of hands, and like also on like if there's like bare skin places as well, to suggest that there might have been some kind of uh, just behave like this, you act like this. You're amongst your peers and everything. Behave yourselves.
I think hope is perhaps having the first stirrings of self consciousness here at this party. All of these beautiful people wearing beautiful clothes, doing things, expressing themselves, being young and free. And perhaps she wants to, in particular, cover up the quite prominent surgery scars and joinings on her body. But the party attendees are like, no, that's what makes you you. And they actually take like eyeliner and use it to actually trace over the bindings, the sewings, and they like make it beautiful on her. Act 3 is utterly bizarre, difficult to follow, and to large portions of the audience that walked out in the middle of it, insufferable. The bulk of this act involves the introduction of three courtiers of the occluded king: the Duchess, the Prince, and the Knave. Please tell me in what disturbing or bizarre ways are the three courtiers introduced?
Drawing back from Hargrave being in the background, it is very obvious that Gray is the Duchess, Tim is the Prince, and Knox is the Knave. Like the island players from Avatar, that sort of parody.
I think if we're picking up on that, we see you say the Duchess is Lord Grey. We see the Duchess start unmoving, like a work of art, painted into the side of the wardrobe, and they linger a little too long in that space where it becomes unsure whether the scene has actually started, or whether they are part of the background, and it creates a moment of confusion and disconnect for the entire audience.
Which one is Tim again? Remind me.
The Prince.
Fabulous. I think they straight up bring the prince out bound to a cross, upside down, like holding them upside down. And like it is clear that maybe they've held this actor upside down a little too long, but they don't unbind them when they get them there. It is that same sort of like, probably the reason people walked out is this, have we started yet? Have we there? Okay.
At one point during this introduction and everything, there's almost like a play within a play. There is a three-act mini play that happens between these like different characters, these attendant and everything, with like a beginning, middle, and end, that is just put right into a 5-minute introduction. That just like, and there's at one point where like Langfus is like, wait, what is happening? What is this Oliver character that they're talking about? Like, it's just
I don't know.
what is just looking through the program, trying to make sense of this.
The orchestra plays the Inception noise. Wah! Visage. Everything sort of, everyone's laughing and enjoying themselves when the hostess of Visage appears. She is wearing a beautiful diaphanous white gown, black silk gloves, and her wooden face mask, her featureless wooden mask. But you can see her body underneath this diaphanous gown. She's completely nude underneath. And she steps forward and she says, "For so long, I have been consumed with beauty. But now I realize that I had it all wrong. I am meant to be consumed by beauty." And she goes down into the center of the room. Everyone kind of parts. And in particular, Lord Grey, it's almost like they're all waiting on you to take some kind of action. Everyone's there. Toddy and the Woolsey twins have been like parked on a couch away from the main action most of the night. They find all this amusing, but they're not too involved. This is Sally No Face's party. But she comes up and she says, "Lord Grey, I would love it if you would take the first bite."
Oh, fuck yeah.
And she raises or sort of parts this diaphanous gown and drops it to the floor. And now all she's wearing is her gloves and her mask, but she begins taking the gloves off. And she says, "Where would you like to start?"
Astounding. I think
We're
there
going
is.
straight to Act 4.
Fuck yeah. Oh, yeah. Amazing.
There's no Act 4, but we do conclude the play. The play concludes with the appearance of the occluded king, an overly tall figure in tattered black robes, a ghost white mask, and a blood-red helm. The chorus members sing a shrieking, discordant dirge as the courtiers push the journeywoman toward the king. The lights go out, and when they come back on again, the curtain has been lowered. No one takes a bow, and there are no ovations. Very few people even clap. The ending feels abrupt and incomplete. Attendees, what are you doing?
So, do you think we could go behind the curtain, investigate?
I think I'm owed a visit to this stage. Do I need to know what the fuck I just watched for the past 3.5 hours?
Please, give your. I think Tim's
No,
like.
no, if
No
I do-
intermission. The longest was horrible play.
Yeah, it's just fucking. It's just like good. It's like seeing like oh god, Horizon in theaters. Like I'm just like oh no. Look, mate. Like, is this what you do often?
No, I'm not. This was a nonsense play. This wasn't my. No.
So we're of sound mind that they both deserve
Yes,
stern
yes,
talking
yes,
to.
yes. You
They
didn't
all-
miss any.
okay.
You are not like made unaware. You were. This was strange. You were not weird for finding the strange or lesser. This was horrid.
Okay, it's good to know.
Do you look behind the curtain?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
There's really no one around to stop you.
Yeah.
walking and
nothing.
talking.
There's nothing. No set dressing, no props, no people. Nothing. You have, however, unlocked the next question for the threat, which is, what roles are you intended to perform in the play? It's a complexity 6. It allows you to resolve the threat by playing out this role during the play's next performance, ending in the tragic fall of the occluded king, or by breaking out of this role and ruining the production itself, thereby returning order to London. But for now, we go back to Visage. Sally No Face has two things, one for Lord Grey and one for Knox. The first, though, for Lord Grey, will you take the first bite, and what part of her body will you bite? It is going to scar your reflection if you do it.
Oh, I'm gonna do it. You can't give me this. You can't give me this delicious meal and me not eat it. It would be very rude of me. But I think, and there's actually, he is dressed in all white as well. It looks stunningly like he did in Langfisk's Backflash, but like it's a flashback, but it's also like way fancier, and it's like got this high collar, and he puts his hand, he like a finger under her chin to touch the skin that is under the mask, and grabs her chin and starts to try to take it off. Does she let me?
It does.
Fabulous. I take off her mask. What do I do when I take off her mask?
I don't know if I like saying.
All
Do you
right.
eat her face?
Yeah, I was gonna take a bite out of her cheek like fucking Hannibal Lecter.
You can. She cries out in pain momentarily, but then she just sinks into it. And when you pull back, blood dripping from your mouth, she lowers the mask again.
Hell yeah.
And she turns to Knox and says, "Perhaps you'd like to help apportion me out to the others." And she hands you her scalpel, Knox, to begin cutting her up to serve to the group. Do you do it?
I already know the answer for Knox for this. How is everybody else just into this?
Yes.
Cool. I just want to make sure these rich fucks.
I mean, there's a lot of like nervousness and anxiety. Toddy seems weirdly bored by it all.
What the fuck?
Friends of the Army Hammer, I guess.
I take the scalpel and I brush along the edge of the mask. I pause and wipe some of the blood that's dripping out down from the bite that Gray took out as it kind of mingles across my hand and drips onto the crimson suit that I'm wearing. I don't know that I can do as good of a job as you do.
Nonsense. You're the second best surgeon in the city.
Knox begins to trace across the body of Sally No Face, working from the back towards her front, down her legs, leaving the head with the mask on it, blood dripping down to the very end, as a reminder of Sally's time in the city and the beauty that everyone in this room seeks.
And then I guess you all eat Sally.
Yes, I guess so.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I didn't agree to eat any Sally. I just agreed
You
to
don't
her.
have to, but Lord Grey
I'm
is.
serving.
Lord Gray's going in for seconds.
Yeah.
I'm doing this.
Lord Gray, you're marking 2 scars.
I
Then.
2?
Yes. If
Okay,
if
you know what? I have to back out then because I only have one left.
Oh.
So I own. You know what? I'm gonna
You
have
You
to.
don't
took your
have to
bite.
back out. You don't have to back out.
I. I'm not gonna make Langfisk retire right now. We're too close to the end.
Very well. What's Hope
So
doing
no.
during all this, Knox?
I think at first she is just watching. Then I think there's a moment where I need a hand. I need assistance, and without thinking, I beckon her over, and I have her hold the scalpel while I peel some flesh back from the bone to get a better angle. Take it back, and without any sort of consciousness of it, have her step into the role of assisting me in this. And there's, I think, a few moments where we just see almost a duality of a cut that's being made on Sally and a scar that we see on Hope that's been adorned here. And we can tell that it's the same cut made on both of the women.
End of session. Did you teach the child what it means to be human? Check. Okay. What a lesson she's getting. Fabulous. That concludes the night phase. Yeah, let's go ahead and do the dawn. All right. Let's go to, the tracker is not updating correctly, so I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. Let's just
I mean, I
pass
can
out
see
rewards.
the Don.
Let's pass out rewards.
Oh no, that is right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we have rewards for resolving Sally No Face. I will read them out to you all. You can have Sally No Face's wooden mask and add it to your personal quarters. You can have her scalpel and add it to your personal quarters. You can take one of these mannequins and add it to your personal quarters. You can have a victim's face and add it to your personal quarters. Or a memento from the investigation that can be chosen twice. Who wants what?
I mean, I'll take the scalpel.
Obviously.
Glad we didn't have to twist your arm over it.
I mean, the question for me is: are you taking the mask, or are you taking the whole head?
Oh,
That's
I
what the
mean, if you want the head, you can have it.
No, I
but
just
I
meant.
don't.
I just meant. I was just curious for you.
I was like, I don't feel like you know, I do want the mask, but it feels weird taking it off the head. I think he realizes that. He's like, that feels weird. So I guess I'll take the whole thing.
Sally's head. Love it. Langfisk and Tim, what do you want them to bring you back home in a to-go
Yeah.
box?
Doggy bag.
Too soon. Too soon. I will ask you B for a memento.
I think that a memento is actually, it's from the Visage. It is a perfume vial that seems to actually also, it's perfume mixed with someone's blood. Maybe Sally's.
Knox, give me a memento.
I bring you back a vial of what looks like a dark inky substance, but is absolutely some of that oleander poison.
I'm into it.
I love it. And let's go ahead and just go to end of session questions at this point. or not end of session, dawn questions. What are you talking about? I wrote this game. I know what I'm talking about. Did you answer a capital Q question? Yes. Did you resolve a threat? Yes. Echoes in the night. I think everyone did between the play and stuff. I feel like I picked up on one for everybody.
I was still doing them, but I wasn't actually 100% sure if we were supposed to be doing them.
It's still, yeah, it's not an unseen, but I think it still counts. Langfisk, did you ensure your employer got credit for your triumphs?
Not this time.
Did you subtly express sexual desire for your employer in the way you dressed them or served them?
Yes.
Yes, you did. Dr. Aspectum, did you have a conversation with the child while no one was looking?
Yep.
Did you dismiss the possibility of a supernatural explanation despite everything you've experienced?
I don't think there was a moment here.
There wasn't
we did
anything that came
strongly,
up.
yeah.
Yeah. Did you teach the child the lesson about what it means to be human?
Or inhuman, one of the two.
Yeah. Earlier in the session, you did at least. Lord Grey, did you express a clear preference for the beautiful over the mundane?
I think I got to do that quite a bit this session.
What were the mundane things you rejected?
But you know what? Yeah, actually, you know what? Yeah, I was saying that there
It was all
was no
beautiful. Yeah,
mundanity.
there's no mundanity.
So no, I didn't because I got to have a meat day.
Indeed. However, did you let someone touch you and then make them pay a price for doing so?
I actually don't think so because they asked me to do it.
That is true. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I don't think I can count Sally.
Yeah.
request.
Tim, did you perform a ritual?
Would the hunt count as a ritual? I'm making a
Oh,
really long stretch.
It was a ritual. I'll give it to you. It was ritualistic. I guess that counts. Did you make love to a human in order to forget the darkness?
Now, another stretch. Did we?
Did you?
If Tim was into it, we did with a lot of other foxes. So
Yeah, we did.
Oh, that's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Big
yeah, so together and a lot of other foxes. It was a party.
fox cuddle puddle. in
Human,
the
human,
woods.
human.
Immortal. All right. Fantastic. And yeah. I think before we go to Stars and Wishes, I want to just do a quick scene back in London. It's a mist-shrouded night on Belgrave Square. And a group of people, 3 people, wearing large, or like heavy black veils that drape over their entire bodies. So they just look like columns of black fabric moving down the street. They approach Hargrave House. They are met in the square by Lord Flagg and Theodora. Theodora says, "You know the deal. You help me, I help you." And these 3 individuals in their heavy black veils, they raise their hands. The black fabric hangs over their fingers, so they look something like black shrouded ghosts in the square. And they begin muttering their words. There's a child's scream heard from the bell tower. And then some moments later, the front door of Hargrave House swings open of its own accord. And the Limehouse lurker is dragged from the house by an invisible force. He's screaming and clawing at the threshold, at the parquet floor, at the cobblestones, trying to get back in the house, but he cannot. Let's go to Stars and Wishes.
No. Wes, how dare you? I'm going to steal it before everybody else and start talking about how great that was to start us off with. Holy shit. I mean, what a great session, period. But what great tone setting at the beginning. And it was a blast to also watch chat reacting to your unseen. Way to come back after a week out with that um, uh, mask. Just so good, so amazing. Levi said they knew where it was going. I didn't know until way later in it where it was going. And then B, like such a great job just picking up and just rolling on that also too. Just like the play of that through the rest of the episode just was really, really good. Culmination like gameplay, like the kind of stuff you get way later, and it was so good. I just wanted to make sure I said that one before everybody else said it. So let me think about everybody else's.
Well, I'll just second it.
All right, I'm a yapper. I have many stars, many stars. First, Wes, holy fuck, that mask. I told you off mic, and I'm gonna tell you in front of everybody. I am so glad I can mute myself because I was yelling. I was yelling. That was so good. I didn't know where the fuck it was going. I had no idea. And it was so crazy, and I loved it. I love the drama with Langfisk. I love completely different name. Who is this man? Doesn't matter, I guess. He's Langfisk, and he's fabulous. And there's a lot of duality to this character. There's a lot of layers to him, and just absolutely delicious every single time we get to peel off one and see what's going on. And I also have to say, I really love to do like this weird relationship that these two characters have. I just have to like a star for that, a star for your like being comfortable enough to include my character in these flashbacks. I can say that word. Wow, why is it backflashes in my head? But like seriously, like you are such a lovely person, and you are such a lovely storyteller, and I absolutely cherish getting to tell the story of these two, I would say, fucked up people. And you do just, I really love Langfisk. I really love this character, and I'm genuinely delighted to get to see how you're writing him. And also, you and Tim were very funny at the play. And also the dog thing, that was very funny. Yeah, Jason, the fox hunt thing was fucking crazy. I don't know who wrote that. I don't know who I can thank for that.
Me.
That was you, of course. Okay, thank you. That's bananas. That was
That's not
fucking
written anywhere. That was just something I came up with in the moment.
That's what I was going to ask. Was this an in the moment, or is this
No. I thought of it on a break.
You are
so great.
astounding. I thought this was written somewhere because it was so elaborate and wild. Like, this was great.
Maybe I'm revealing too much about myself. That I just had that ready to go.
It felt planned. It felt like really planned. Like, it felt too perfect tonally. Like, so fabulous, super massive star to you, Jason, for when there were like no active threats, making it very like active. There was a lot of shit going on. It felt like we were still doing stuff and like accomplishing things, even though, and like we actually did accomplish a lot this session, weirdly enough. And yeah, no, and stars for the Sally No Face thing, for her offering herself up to be consumed. Stars for that, because that was very fun. Thank you. So yes, stars to Jason. I love this shit. This was great. The fox hunt was hilarious. That was like, because it was just so tonally different than this, like the rest of the game, but it was also very on tone. I loved it. It was our beach episode. I love Tim. I loved you too at the play. That was so funny. The contrast of Langfus being like, "Is this how this shit works?" And Tim like, No, this is quite bad, actually. That's really good. And every like addition, like the dark spirits being like, "Boo, this sucks." Like, that's really fucking funny. That's really, really good. I loved the way, I loved getting this glimpse into Tim's character of like, oh, now that it's regular humans, I'm a little coy and a little embarrassed because I'm mostly used to fucking demons. Like, this isn't an incubus. That's really funny. That's really good. That's such like a reveal of like who this person is. And she's just like, I can't, you're just a guy. Like you're not like an incubus or anything. Are you sure? Like that's delightful. That's fucking and marking the coven right now at this juncture, like
Let's
as a
give
power
Jason
move.
one more tool.
That is
Oh,
powerful. I love it. That was so power move. Vinvox power gamer. Absolutely astounding. Tony. Tony, I love Knox. I love his relationship with Sally No Face. That was the most delicious option you could have picked. I'm so glad you stayed to interact with her because that is like it's this weird contrast between her and him of like these are like two sides of the same coin almost. Like you're both really talented surgeons and almost like there's like a lot of contrast between Knox and Theodora, it sounds like. And seeing this person who's like ostensibly a good guy, but also really like in a very strange way to most people, like he fascinates me. The your Mask of Beauty really did it for me. That shit really did it for me. That was so good. That was just peak. That's I can't even. That was so fun. And your relationship with Hope, the I really love that you've just taken your kid along and now she's like your assistant and like because obviously what else would she be because she's your kid and this is what you do and it's like this is how you express love and it's really delicious. It's really really good.
it's
I'm
also, I mean,
obsessed.
this is, I want to do, it's also a reflection on like parents not considering their children not having separation from themselves, especially like at this age, right? Like if
Yeah,
I'm in, what you are into is the things I expose you to only. And that's, I mean,
exactly.
it is, there is such strength in that and it ends up in such weird, toxic, bad places also too.
I love
Uh,
it. That's
yeah.
what this game is for, weird, toxic, bad places. I mean, I can't help but find it very sweet in a fucked up way. Like, because I'm like, oh, they're doing activities together. But I also see the other side of that of like, obviously she'll like this. Why wouldn't she like this? I do this. Like, that's a really fun place you're playing with him. I really love it. So yeah, stars to everyone. I fucking love this. This is so delightful. And I see chat saying I am a yapper, yes. But I will let other people have stars because I could talk all night about how great you are.
Yeah, I have a star for I'll third the Janus Mass that was really great. That is like I love it when people like prepare their Janus mask like in between sessions. Like I think that's what the it's not I don't think it's really what I intended in the game design, but I love when people do it. So because I think you just get like a really nice rich story that way. And you don't have to do it that way, but I frequently appreciate it. That was a good one. Really enjoyed this this was so totally interesting as a session because it we got like it was playful sometimes, it was lighthearted, it was a little sexy, it got kind of dark. There was something really interesting about this group of people this group of people who were like they're like really sex positive. They're into consent. They're into body positivity and like all this stuff. And then they ate a bitch. Like 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 that was fun for me. Just I was enjoying that. So I'm really happy you all kind of went on that ride. So yeah, stars for like kind of just being into all of that. I thought that was really great. Um, the I also really liked that little bit of banter between Langfisk and Tim at the play. I also love that it's written this way, and so I guess it's a star for Alex and also well and me because the play part came from the original Brindlewood Bay version, but like I love that the play is bad. Like the play is like really bad, and like people like get up and leave in the middle of it, and like there's something just very funny to me that like this like ritual that is meant to bring this like this god into the world is like really like not good art, So that's very amusing to me. So star for Alex. Uh, Yeah, I love the sort of like getting I really love like Tim's like dawning realization of what's happening down with the foxes. I thought that was really great. I like Langfisk's reluctant participation, but then also like the way you kind of like, you know, like snared Tatiana, so to speak. I thought that was really terrific. I don't get to play Tati very often, so that was fun as well. And yeah, just a lot of good stuff. Stars for just like leaning in, you know, like Lord Grey taking a bite out of Sally, and I also really enjoyed Lord Grey's dawning realization that this was not dangerous. Like this is just like a fun thing. That we're just a fun thing we're gonna do out in the country. So, yeah, good stuff. Oh, and also Star for exploring the forbidden wing of the house. Like, I'm glad somebody went and explored the manor house because I knew what I wanted you to find there, and so I was really happy that someone did it. So,
Ben.
I mean, I guess since I got called on, taking our star, breaking it, sprinkling across everybody, just going across the screen. Tony Knox just serving a bitch like a sheet cake. Very good. No thoughts there. With your kid. 11 out of 10. We loved it. I love the explanation for the doctor bit. It's like for safety reasons, we'll do doctor first and then we'll do the fox. Very sly. I loved that so much. It was very in character, but very smart too. Wes, I can't stand you. Yada yada yada, et cetera, et cetera. We've said this 1,000 times before. I can't believe I had emotions for Langfisk again. That was very good. Like way to come back in and like upstage everybody with these prompts. I don't know what I'm gonna do after this. Um, B. Gray. I want the edit on my desk immediately. Opening cat cut as soon as we get off. Just a lot of fantastic moments. Love the hunt. Love the bite. Just such great. I'm glad we didn't mark that last uh, bit on the masterpiece. Would have been funny, but I couldn't have done it. Jason, the fox hunt. If I had a nickel for every time I had a metaphorical hot fox, yeah, I can't even say it. 2 nickels. I'm just saying 2 nickels. I'll explain later. Uh, just fantastic. And like you said, we've gone through a lot of themes, and they didn't feel like they had like hard intersections. They kind of flowed and made a very great, weird, fun episode. But that is the between. Like this is your baby, and it turned out great. So great job, everybody.
I did halvesies on mine. Wes, I did. I will say also, I did the scene in the woods and the oh no, what'll I do now? Like such a great, just like turn and play. It was so good. Um, then I like I love, and we talked about it a lot in like stars. The like you oftentimes do these really like short, like poppy, like hard masks, and so we get very little of the character. This one, the extensiveness was also like very giving. Like it was like, oh, we're getting to see a lot more into Tim now, which I mean, like I loved, and I love both, but it was nice to see like that mode shift also too, and to like give all of us a little bit more than some of the like intense viscerality that leaves a strong impression, but just like the what the fuck, and this one was like still what the fuck, but gave us a lot more to like mentally grab onto, and it was really really great. It was super fun to do, like the way things ended up splitting was super enjoyable, watching the interchange between two of you, but also like having Hope in the mix now, which like I love that for the most part. Even Langfisk a little bit this time was like, oh, not no, not that one, right? Like the Hope being adopted as a child of the household has been really good, but also even of the players and keeper also too, right? Different people taking on little different bits with Hope from time to like helps that character feel very alive as opposed to just like, oh, like here's a child I have following my character around now. And feels very fluid at the table. I loved when Jason was like, I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen with Hope in this scene. I'm super excited to see. I can come up with that, but I really don't want to. So Jason, I loved when you like hopped in with that scar piece, and it's also like both as a actual parent, but also as a parent to a fictional child in the game, like exactly what I would want those attendants to say to my child of like, these scars are what make you you. You do not need to be like like you're the whole like you mentioned it, the whole like body positivity, consent, sex positive arc of this was like so good that it's just like, yeah, this is a lot for a newly created built child to be in, but also like what a healthy space for them to learn in. Maybe not the
They
eating people. We can come back to
they
that
are
later.
kind of, they are, it is a really healthy space. Like they're
Right.
like, yeah, and even the eating things, like, I mean, like that's what
was
Sally
cons-
wanted.
it
It
was
was
No, 100%.
consensual.
We just want to make sure it's not a pattern. Like we don't want to figure that pattern.
Consensual
We don't think it's
cannibalism.
consent informed. So no, but it was such a like. It was also like, I also never like. There are so many times where I'm like, cool. Is this the first time this has happened? Is this something Jason has done before? Because you've run the between so much, you've written so much of it. Like, and a big part of helping keep things straight is like you mentioned running the coven the same way or similar ways every single time. Like you have a coven, right?
I have a thing I do with the coven.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that kind of consistency, like at the level you play and run things, like is super important just to cogency of play. And it's always super fun when we get to find out, oh no, this was like a new fun thing you also just made up for this one, and it sung so good. Like I was ready to be like, who else had gone to the hunting sex party at Tatiana's mansion and had a beauty party at the end of the night? Like, is that a thing? No, okay, never
Nope,
mind.
that
That's
was
awesome.
all. That was all
Uh,
y'all.
But like as a keeper, both sides of that tend to run seamlessly, and I think a big part of that is not only internal skill, but also you knowing where and how to play with the groups you're running, which is actually a harder skill than just, oh, was I consistent every single time, but knowing where to like give other people that space, hope they take it, but set them up if even if they don't. And so that was it was just super enjoyable. And yeah, I do love B as just the uncle who is just very much taken, probably does not actually care about this child, but as an extension of themselves, really wants them to look good and be presented well and have a good experience in the world. Also, just B's experience of processing being the old. I've done that a lot in a group, and you hit it spot on. Like I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm a decade older than all of my friends, and I am the oldest person here, and it is evident, and that is fine.
I am that person every time I go to a convention, every
Yeah.
time I go, I'm always the oldest
Yeah.
person.
And
Always.
so 10 out of 10, no notes. You did such a great job with that. Super good. Wishes, I am so excited about the like answering the question piece that we're going to get to explore in some of that new tech. I also like, this was a very cool, like we mentioned it being a beach scene. It felt super action packed and very like, oh, we are setting up for what's going to be the finale. I'm super excited about all that. I just hope we just keep on killing it and being awesome. Jason, can you remind us what we need to be thinking about for that piece?
Just be looking. I have highlighted in yellow the clues that I think are relevant to answering the question. But I didn't originally, when we started this, I didn't have the new rules in mind, and so some of the clues I gave you are not. They're just like timer clues. They're not really like functional, I don't think, to answering any particular question. And so I've highlighted the ones in yellow that I think are going to be usable for the question. And so we'll do those. And it's going to be a complexity, like a complexity 8, and just be thinking about like what, come up with what you think. What is Theodora up to? I think the big clue is the fact that she has a glass coffin with someone that appears to be Queen Victoria in
Inside
it,
of it,
right?
yeah.
So yeah. So
Awesome. We
yeah.
do know we won't be playing next week because Wes and I are going to be in Indianapolis at Gen Con. So we will let y'all know when the next time we're going to play is. It may be the following Thursday, but I think Wes has a start playing game that's starting that Thursday. So we may have to shuffle schedule around a little bit for our last couple of episodes. No, nothing. Okay, cool. We're just going to keep on rolling.
No, I put that one on hiatus when I lost my job. So
Cool.
So we're all good. We're all clear. And I like, let's ride this out, please,
Awesome.
please.
So sweet. We will let y'all know the next time we're going to be playing. over on social media. Go follow all the wonderful
Yeah.
folks here.
Yeah, Wes, did
I
you
don't.
do your stars and
Wes did not
wishes?
do his. Wes did not do their stars.
I was being very polite. I didn't want to.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Wes.
I didn't
We
want
just
to
all spent the
like.
entire time talking about how much we love you, so I forgot.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was starting to. I was like, God, this is really feeling like a jerk off West party. No, instead, let me share some sparkle with you. Uh, Tony, one of my favorite scenes from a horror movie, and it's one of them, but it's from the movie Trick or Treat. Um, and I'll try not to spoil it too much. But there's a certain character who is a bad man. And you learn over the movie how much of a bad man he is, but there's a scene where he's being very bad, and his kid catches him, and you find out that he is training or grooming his own son to take over the mantle of what he is. I'm trying not to spoil the movie, even though it's like a 10-year-old movie or whatever. But and I felt shades of that. It's not like a one for one or anything like that, but like it gave me those kind of feelings of like this is very sweet. This is also very concerning. That like you're taking this in with this child that you've built and everything, and like it's almost like you've built like a smaller like Knox has made like a let me make me but better. But there's also like you are your own person. So there's a lot of sweetness, but there's also a little like there's some saccharine with it too. And you do that so well. You balance that so well. You also bring a little bit of levity in unexpected ways, like popping in and being like, "Oh no! I'm just giving you a physical before the fox hunt or the parade of foxes."
Let me be transparent. That was me as a character, literally being like, this is my best way to help protect. Me as a player being like, this is my best way to help protect. And then me as a player being like, fuck, Jason did it. This is great. Not at all what I thought was going to happen. And Nox is going to be massively uncomfortable here. So it was great.
Yeah. Like excellent vibes. B, like I have come off of a rewatch and a watch of Interview with a Vampire with my partner, and there's like shades of Lestat in you, and we got that a little bit with your interactions with Hope of like this like you're not my child, but I'm going to have some kind of like parental feeling towards you, even if it's just a facet, like it's one facet of it, and it works really well, and it's really good scenes. Also just like your interaction with the party goers and everything moving through, you're like that Lord Grey just feels like this kind of like the specter of good time and attractiveness that just kind of moves around rooms, and like everybody feels it, this feeling, and it's great. So keep that up, please. Um, I loved finally having a one-on-one time with Tim, and what a place to do it at the theater. I love like it's so funny, Vin, because you and I have played so many games with each other and we have a really good banter. But I think this is the first time I've played characters in a game with you where we haven't had like as much interaction. Like even sometimes we have characters that are tied together. So it's like it's very interesting to have this where like two ships in the night, and it's just like yep, how's it going, and like so it is very I just like the table dynamics. I want to give kudos to you, Jason, for tonight. Like I play the between I've played the between a handful of times, and I've never had like a hunt with Tati like this before. My first experience with Tati Braithwaite was our mother got kidnapped by her, and then was let loose on the grounds, and the Woolsey twins and her hunted him all around the grounds and everything, and he had to like run all the way back to London essentially. And so it's a very different vibe, and I liked it. It almost felt like a not even like a beach episode, but just like just this whirlwind of like there are things happening, but it just feels so like almost like there's like a thin like area where like a little bit of whatever you want to call the beyond, whatever this astral kind of or this dark kind of presence that takes place in the Brindleverse. It's almost like some things kind of collided, and we were just brought through this like David Lynch kind of. When people say Lynch, like or Lynchian, they don't really know what they're talking about. They just say weird, but this actually felt Lynchian. It felt like it was just like these weird experiences for these characters where we just feel completely out of place, but we feel in place as well, and we're experiencing these things. It felt like the party in Lost Highway, where it's like, that's fucking crazy, man. And so like it's you have such a good, like, you wrote the game, but you have such a master understanding of like how to change things for different tables, and I've seen you run the between with other people, and like it just feels so fresh, and you find new ways to make it feel fresh, where I'm just like, hell yeah, I feel like I'm playing it for the first time. So thank you for that, and also thank you all for the love and for welcoming me. But what a way to come back to the game after being gone for a week. So, you know,
You
thank you.
missed the Court of Wolves.
I missed the Court of Wolves. Which, oh god, I'm so stoked for Court of Wolves. Okay, that's me. I've talked enough.
But if you want to talk more to us, and you're at Gen Con next week, we'll both be there. Come by, chat with us, hang out with us. We'll be talking a lot about Zine Club. You go to rpgzine.club to find out more about that, along with a bunch of other great things that we have in the works over here at Plus One. Coming up for the future. If you're a game designer and you want to pitch us something, talk to us about that also too. Would love to see if you're not going to be there and you want to talk about or pitch any of those things, head on over to our Discord. If you want to talk about the stream, head over to the Gauntlet Discord. There's a lot of great things and great communities happening out there. I have been awake since super early and moved through 4 states today, so we are going to call that a night, but I wouldn't have missed this for the world. It was so great. Really, really looking forward to being back around the table with all of y'all in a couple of weeks to keep on playing The Between. Bye.
Bye.